We visited Redwood National and State Parks near Crescent City, California on September the 26th and 27th, 2022. If you would like to get notices when I post again, be sure to subscribe right here. Just click on that button. This is almost 140,000 acres that it covers. It was established on October the 2nd, 1968, and is made up of one national park and 3 state parks put together as one administrative unit. 45% of all the Old Growth Redwoods is in this area, and it has about 500,000 visitors each year. We'll leave the hotel, drive the Howland Hill Road, walk the Stout Grove Trail and then the Simpson Reed Trail, take the Redwood Highway down to Paul's Famous Smoked Salmon, get some there, take the Coastal Drive Loop, then drive Newton B. Drury Scenic Parkway, stopping at the Big Tree Grove and Elk Prairie to see the elk, and then driving back to our hotel for the night. The National and State Parks are joined together here. We go to Jedediah Smith's Redwood State Park, then Del Norte Coast Redwood State Park, Prairie Creek Redwood State Park, and finally Redwood National Park at the bottom. We're going to be looking at this part of the parks. It's a long, narrow area along the coast that extends for miles and miles. Although the redwoods and the giant sequoias are in the same family, they're not the same species. The redwoods are all along the coast in the coastal rainforest, and the giant sequoias are in the Sierra Nevada mountains. They differ in several different ways. The redwoods are taller, but the sequoias way more because they keep their volume all the way up. The coastal redwoods are usually a little bit younger than the giant sequoias. Their bark is 12 feet thick as opposed to the sequoia's 31 inches thick, and their base is 40 diameter for the sequoia and 22 for the redwoods. Let's get started in the fog. As we head out to Jedediah Smith's Redwood State Park, we see something in the road. It's a bull elk. He's just standing there right now looking at us. But as we get closer and slow down, he starts to move on down the road and will eventually run off the road after looking at us for a few seconds. We're now entering the most northern part of the park, the Jedediah Smith Redwoods State Park, and we'll be driving down the Howland Hills Road. It's a narrow dirt road most of the way, and in fact so narrow that you have to pull off the road to let other vehicles pass you. I would not recommend this road for anybody towing a trailer. And in fact, I'm not sure I'd take a motorhome down this road. Going to be fairly foggy as we drive down through here, and we'll be kissing a lot of those trees pretty closely as we go zigzagging around them. As we continue on down the road, it turns to a gravel road. The redwoods are the trees with the real rough bark on them, as you see here. These are some pretty large trees, but we'll see even larger ones. We'll arrive at Highland Hill Road. She marked it in the middle. And when we get there, then we will switch to the next, which is the walking place. The road stops. So it disappears. Oh, it goes down.
Way down.
Here we're going to stop and take a look up at some of the redwoods where we have a little bit of an open sky to see them better, how tall they really are.
There it is.
So we can pass this by. Now we continue on dodging in between the trees. It looks like they built the road to keep as many of the trees as possible.
In 600 feet, turn left.
Come back this road. Finish it.
Take the next left.
Stop growth.
GPS actually made it there.
In 800 feet, your destination will be on the left.
Thank you. I'm so appreciative of that for information. And hopefully we'll have a bathroom to eat before I go.
When you get back.
Huh?
Or when you get back.
Let's throw it, maybe. Our first stop of the day will be the Stout Memorial Grove Trail. It's about a half of a mile long, and we're going to be walking all the way around its loop. We'll be walking around this area in red. As you can see from Deborah, this tree is rather large. The beginning of the trail is a rather steep slope that's paved, but still rather hard to walk down and up for me. But once we get into the bottom, we're able to get in amongst the trees, and it is spectacular. These big bumps on the bottom of the tree here are from fire. As you can see, they have been fire kissed up the side, and the fire makes them put out these kinds of bulges in the roots. And of course, Deborah had to touch. Here you can see how thin the bark is around the outside of the tree, and here's the root. These are very shallow-rooted trees, but their roots can extend for 100 feet in any direction, joining them with other trees in their area. As you have been looking at this countryside, maybe it has looked familiar to you. Well, it should. If you've ever seen one of the Star Wars movies, it's Endor. In this area, these are where the battle at Endor was filmed.
Trying to drive that through here.
We now leave Howell and Howe Road and go on the main road. We go through the bridge over the Sheep Pen Creek.
Take the next right onto Walker Road, then your destination will be on the right.
We'll now be stopping at the Simpson Reed Grove Trail and walking it. It's about a mile long, so it'll take us a while. Notice how plants grow on this tree. It's called a nurse log. As they fall down, they start to rot, and other plants will grow on them. This is a good view of the shallow root system of one who has fallen over. And these are the leaves of the redwoods. And as you can see, there are ferns and moss everywhere. These are good views of what the bark on a redwood looks like, so you can tell them apart even if you can't see how tall they are. We now get back on Highway 101. Here it's called the Redwood Highway, and we're heading south down the rest of the park as we go. very interesting how the light plays through the fog as we drive through it, and it shines through from the various trees. Now we passed close to the Pacific shoreline, and you can see what the beach would look like here. On down the road we come to Native American land, and they have a place called Trees of Mystery where you can do ropes and various other things. And they also have a statue of Paul Bunyan and Babe we stopped to look at. Continuing on southward, we eventually come to the town of Klamath. In Klamath we stop for Paul's famous smoked salmon jerky. He grills it right there on the property in a smoke pit like this. We buy some and we'll eat it later. It's now time to get off the Redwoods Highway and to take a coastal drive loop around the area here near the Klamath River where it flows into the Pacific Ocean. A lot of this is going to be a narrow one-way road and some dirt, so I wouldn't recommend this for anybody towing a trailer again or a motor home. But it does have some beautiful views out over the ocean.
Continue on Klamath Beach Road for 1.5 miles.
Our first stop is going to be High Bluff Overlook, and we can see across the ocean for a while from here. Other stops along the way will be stopping at the mouth of the Klamath River. Here it is flowing in through its bar. We'll also be stopping at a hidden site. This hidden site is actually a radar center for early warning during World War II. It was disguised as a farm and had anti-aircraft guns here for use if the Japanese tried to invade. And now we're going to head on off the rest of the loop. The northern side of the loop follows the Klamath River, which will be to our left, although you won't see it very often because of the trees and vegetation between you and it. Then we're back on Highway 101, the Redwoods Highway, and we're headed down to the Newton B. Drury Scenic Parkway. We'll be taking it, which was the original road in this place, but when they built the 4-lane, they bypassed this section because they couldn't build, for it's so close to the redwoods on each side.
Turn right at Newton B. Drury Scenic Parkway.
We'll now be entering Prairie Creek Redwood State Park and traveling through it and seeing the spectacular redwoods along the road. Another difference between the redwoods and sequoias is that people tend to give sequoias names like General Sherman or General Grant or the Old Grizzly, but redwoods usually aren't given names. In fact, this is the only one I know of that has been given a name. It's called the Big Tree, and we're going to go to the Big Tree Wayside. It's just right off the parking lot, so it's not a very long walk to it. It is about 24 feet in diameter, 286 feet tall, and about 1,500 years old. Let's go look at it. Actually, this is not the biggest redwood there is, or the tallest, or the biggest around, but it just seemed to be a really big tree, and people have been stopping here ever since the age of cars started traveling along these roads. Now as we head on down the Newton B. Drury Scenic Parkway, we're going to come to the Prairie Creek Redwoods camping area. It's an open prairie there, and we're going to see some animals here. This is called Elk Meadow for good reason. First we see a raven, and then we see some elk out in the area. Now we're back on Highway 101, the Redwoods Highway, heading north. We're heading back towards Crescent City, but it's going to take us a while because we've got about 40 or 50 miles to drive. As we drive along, we look, and there on the right, there's some elk. The male's way back in the back, barely see him. But this is a group of females and their yearling fawns. This elk has a radio tracking collar on it so they can track this particular herd. Soon we're traveling back by the beach, and soon we will be in Crescent City. to leave Crescent City and take the Redwood Highway down to the Bald Hills Road, which will drive around the eastern side of the Redwoods National Park, take a logging road back down to Highway 101, and then we'll drive down to Eureka, where we will take the Avenue of the Giants, go through the Shrine Drive-Through Tree, the Candler Drive-Through Tree, and spend the night in Ukiah, California. After driving down the Redwood Highway, we'll take this road, the Bald Hills Road, around the eastern edge of Redwoods National Park. As we leave early in the morning, we have a light rain. Fog rolls into this area every morning, and we'll be in and out of it most of this morning. The fog is actually what produces about 80% of the moisture that the redwoods need. That's why they're able to grow here. They get the moisture from the fog that rolls in every morning. We're going to stop by the seashore and see the sea stacks that are out in the water. These are formed as hard rocks are surrounded by soft rocks, and as they erode away, the rocks just stick up out of the water and out of the sand. As we're driving along, we notice a man with his camera standing at him. We see there's a whole bunch of elk just about 3 feet off the road. He almost ran into one as we were parking. They were so close. This bull elk with his weird stance is actually sniffing to see if the females are in heat so that he knows whether to breed with them or not. He has a special gland in the top of his mouth that can taste the hormones that they are putting off. Now we're on the Bald Hills Road. It's a very narrow road, and paved here, it'll turn to gravel later. We've been told we'd be able to see a lot of wildlife, elk and bears while we were here, but when we pull out into the open areas, it's just really foggy and you can't see much past the side of the road. The road eventually turns into a gravel road and continues to climb up into the mountains along the Pacific coast of California. Soon it seems we've climbed so far that we have climbed up above the clouds and the fog, And it's called Bald Hills because there's not a lot of trees up here. It's really weird to stand here and look, and out over there looks like a lake and a shore, but it's actually the clouds down in the valleys, the fog as it has rolled in. And we're up above it now. Now we're heading back down the side of the mountain toward the coast again. Our GPS tells us about a wonderful shortcut down to Highway 101. We shouldn't have listened to her. It's a gravel road that's probably an old logging road and is washed out in many different places and is really, really rough. It's going to take us a while to get there. We're going to have to drive so slow. After about an hour and a half, we're back on paved roads again and can drive faster. As you can see, we're continuing to go down towards the coastal plain and Highway 101. We eventually make it to Highway 101 and we drive along to Arcata Bay and see the eucalyptus trees planted there. We'll be driving through Eureka, California. Shortly after leaving Eureka, we get on the Avenue of the Giants. It's 32 miles long, the red road, as you can see on the right, that winds around Highway 101. It was the original route through here and is a scenic route. There are huge trees everywhere you look. And then we about run over some people. The glare on the windshield keeps them from seeing them, and we just miss them by a few feet. This route actually alternates between big trees and just normal trees, driving along more in the open. I'm only showing the big tree part because that seems to me to be the most interesting parts. Now we come to the Shrine drive-through tree. It's the first one of the trees that we're going to drive through.
For 6 miles.
The clearance in this tree is 7 feet by 7 feet. Notice it's actually a natural crack that they've widened somewhat in this tree. This tree is 3,000 years old, 21 feet in diameter, and 275 feet tall. This is not my picture, but one off the internet to show you what it looks like of a car going through it. And cars have been going through this for many, many years. You can even drive up on a log if you want to. We decided not to. They also have an area they call Fairy Tale Land, and it looks like little houses. And now we're back on the main route of the Avenue of the Giants. Near the end of the route, we come to the Chandler Tree drive-through. And we're going to drive through this area also. It takes a while to get back to where the tree is. The Chandler tree is 2,400 years old, 315 feet high, and 21 feet in diameter. This is an artificially cut tunnel, and cars can barely get through it. If you look at the roof of this tunnel, you can see that many cars have scraped it. We're going to go back through a second time and let Deborah take a picture of us as we drive through. This picture gives you an idea of the height of this tree. This is a redwood, not a sequoia, and again, people have been driving through this for many years. And now it's time to do a little shopping in the gift shop before we leave.